Want to know why? Ask how. Howard the Humongous. President Donald J. Trump had a press conference backed by his coronavirus team on Wednesday night, February 26th, complete with people like the National Institute of Infectious Diseases' very highly regarded head, Anthony Fauci, and Secretary of Health and Human Services, Alex Azar. Though the press missed it, the president made roughly 20 highly disturbing statements, distortions of fact, name-calling attacks on Democrats, and outright lies. For example, President Trump told the country that because of his shrewd and aggressive policies, America is unlikely to be affected by the global coronavirus outbreak. Said the president over and over again, quote, "We've done a great job of keeping it down to a minimum. We've had tremendous success. We have it so well under control. We really have done an excellent job. What we've done is fantastic," close quote. Explained Trump, quote, "We stopped non-U.S. citizens coming in from China, we screened people coming in from infected countries, and we have great quarantine facilities," close quote. That, he said, did the trick. Added Trump, "I took a lot of heat for deciding to shut off travel to China. Democrats called me a racist." Trump implied that he was bold, brave, and had a foresight other world leaders lack. In fact, at the end of January 2020, the Trump administration did declare a health emergency and restricted or quarantined travelers coming into the United States from China. So President Trump deserves a bit of credit. But then, in the president's coronavirus press conference, the wild inaccuracies began to flow. Dangerously wild inaccuracies. The president proclaimed that the number of cases of coronavirus in the USA is a mere 15. Explained the president 8 of those 15 were recovering in their homes, 5 have completely recovered, and 1 is in the hospital. In other words, most of those 15, said Mr. Trump, are getting better. Soon, he declared, and I quote, "we'll be at 5 people, going down to 1 or 2, close quote. Alas, the president's statement was not correct. We had 105 cases, not 15. 105 is not a big number, but it's 7 times more than the president's 15. And if you dig through the statistics and do a bit of arithmetic, you find something positively chilling. The president told the American people at his press conference that the coronavirus is like the flu. He said, "You treat this just like the flu. In many cases, you catch this and you don't even know it. You think you've got a cold. In other words, nothing to see here, folks, nothing to worry about. Just go on about your business." But that is wrong. It is fatally wrong. There is a difference between the flu and the coronavirus in a very important area: the number of people these two diseases kill. In the flu season a mere 2 years ago, roughly 49 million Americans came down with the flu. 80,000 of those Americans died. That's a crowd of corpses bigger than the population of Scranton, Pennsylvania. But your chance of dying if you caught the flu were tiny. Roughly 16 in every 1,000 people who caught the illness were killed by it or by its complications. That is not true with the coronavirus. If you catch the coronavirus, your chances of dying are between 19 and 30 times higher than if you caught the flu. Now think of that. The coronavirus is at least 19 times more likely to kill you than the flu, which means that if the coronavirus were to hit as many Americans as the flu did 2 years ago, 1.5 million of us Americans would die. That's more than the population of an entire country, Latvia. Yet in 2018, the National Security Council's entire pandemic team, its team of experts on recognizing pandemics and responding to them, quit in a huff when their boss was fired, and the Trump administration never replaced them. And Trump tried to reduce the budget of the Center for Disease Control. Fortunately, Congress stopped it. And now he says, quote, "we are ready for this," close quote. So is the president's attitude toward the coronavirus irrational exuberance or a well-informed response to the crisis? Here's one hopeful fact in support of the president's optimism. From February 23rd to February 27th, for the first time, the number of patients who recovered from the coronavirus worldwide was greater than the number of new cases. Let me repeat that. For the very first time, the number of the world's coronavirus patients who got better was greater than the number of new patients coming down with the disease. What's more, the the president and his team announced that there's a treatment right around the corner. The National Institute of Infectious Diseases' Anthony Fauci stepped up to the microphone at the press conference to explain that it's an antiviral called remdesivir, an experimental drug originally developed to counter Ebola during the Obama administration. And it's true that trials of remdesivir are being rushed by a partnership between an American drug company, Gilead Sciences, and Beijing's China-Japan Friendship Hospital Company. Those trials are taking place in both the United States and China. The first patient in the trial is an American who got the bug on the cruise ship Diamond Princess and was stuck in the luxury ship in Yokohama Harbor in Japan for roughly 3 weeks under quarantine, a ship in which 3,711 passengers were busy infecting each other. 705 of those patients came down with the virus, and 6 of those luxury passengers have died of their coronavirus infections. But back to the bad news about the good news. The antiviral is not as right around the corner as the president says it is. Yes, it may take less than a year to bring remdesivir to market, possibly even less than 6 months. That's breathtaking speed in drug development time. Plus, there's a possible vaccine that Anthony Fauci says could be ready in a year or two, maybe a year and a half, and CNN reports pharmaceutical giants Johnson & Johnson and GlaxoSmithKline are also working on vaccines. Biotech company AbbVie has said that it has seen promising results for treatment using a mixture of 2 of its HIV medications and Tamiflu, and smaller drug companies, Moderna, Inovio Pharmaceuticals, and Novavax are also working on treatments. But the coronavirus is moving fast. 3 months ago, it didn't exist. Now it's in 60 countries and has killed almost 3,000 people. The big question is this: if you come down with a serious case of the coronavirus, will remdesivir be ready in time to help you? Then there's the stock market. At about the same time that the president was trying to focus attention on his brilliant handling of the coronavirus, the stock market was about to have its biggest single-day drop in history. Over 6 days, the stock market lost $5 trillion in value, a figure about the size of the entire yearly gross domestic product of the world's 3rd biggest economy, Japan. The so-called mainstream media said the drop was caused by fears of the coronavirus and its impact on global supply chains. Economic growth would be slowed to a crawl by fear of travel, of public gatherings, and by the unwillingness of consumers to spend. Damn that lying mainstream media, right? It's all a bunch of crazed Democrats, isn't it? However, the media that's convinced that the coronavirus was the cause of the market crash included England's BBC, France's Agence France-Presse, Japan's Japan Times, and the entire World Health Organization. These are not exactly Democratic Party mouthpieces. Far from it. Then there were the coronavirus-inspired slashings of profit projections by Apple and Microsoft. Shrunken profit projections that, look, will hurt the top officers at Microsoft and Apple in their own bank accounts, lowering the value of the stock that CEOs own in their own company. Yet Trump's obedient surrogates, folks like Don Trump Jr., said the concern over the virus was basically a Democratic Party plot designed to make Donald Trump look bad. And President Trump, in his March 28th North Carolina rally, called the coronavirus emergency a Democratic hoax. Or, as President Trump put it in his coronavirus news conference, Nancy Pelosi is trying to start a panic. What's more, Trump, in his coronavirus press conference, explained that the market collapse happened because the Democratic presidential candidates had made fools of themselves in their North Carolina debate. The crash was the fault of incompetent Nancy Pelosi and crying Chuck Schumer. Yes, those were the schoolyard bully insults that President Trump threw around in his press conference on a health emergency, just after he said, quote, "We've got to work together. You can't say bad things," close quote. But Trump did say bad things. In fact, he used a gutter vocabulary with which no president in history has ever dared degrade the office. What's more, said Trump at his press conference, quote, "Once I'm reelected, you're going to see the stock market boom like it's never boomed before," close quote. So is the coronavirus what the president tried to explain to you and me in his press conference. Just the flu. Something we should shrug off, like the common cold. Is the worldwide concern about the coronavirus something cooked up by the Democratic press to attack poor, innocent Donald Trump? No. As usual, the president was using a constellation of make-believe facts to mislead you and me about something that could kill people. People like you, me, and even the presidential family. This is Howard the Humongous, with a frog in his throat or a crack in his voice, speaking to you from the future. It's your job and my job to make. Or, want to know why? Ask how. And now for the sleazy, slimy, slippery little off button. I think I've got it.